Has David Eby ruined British Columbia? That is what we're going to be talking about next. Again, has David Eby ruined British Columbia? Stay tuned as we're going to talk about 7 ways that David Eby has ruined British Columbia. Up next. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frain. I'm the host, and I'm joined by Neil Matheson in Surrey, British Columbia, out in Newton area, and it is a stormy day today, everyone. Just before we start the show, yeah, we have an atmospheric river. Some people used to call it the Pineapple Express, but meteorologists, they call it now the atmospheric river. The most rain that we've had all summer, and it's all coming in a short period of time. A rainfall warning has been issued for Metro Vancouver and some parts of Vancouver Island where I am. I'm in Victoria. We're going to get rain. We're not going to get as much rain as other areas, but it's going to be a wet one this afternoon. It rained yesterday pretty good, but it tapered off. This afternoon it's going to come down. Some areas a little bit more than others, so just be careful on the roads. If you're driving out there, you're taking public transit, stand back from the curb so you don't get splashed as a tidal wave comes along and sploosh, you're going to get a major soaker, right? You're going to get wet already. Don't forget your umbrellas too. And today, yeah, I guess that's a good metaphor of umbrellas because when it rains, it really pours. And those are the topics. Like we're going to be talking about 7 ways that how David Eby has ruined British Columbia. So, just get your drinks ready and sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, so we'll try to spend about 10 minutes on each one. I got 7 title cards I'm going to bring up. But we'll maybe spend about 10 minutes on each one. Try to do them kind of rapid fire, not go down too many rabbit holes today, hopefully.
Yeah.
And just kind of because it's a lot to cover. It's a
Yeah.
lot to cover, so we're gonna be really focused today. So let's bring up the first reason how David Eby is ruining Canada. Ready?
Yeah, and I got the pink unicorn right behind me here.
Pink unicorn. So the first way that David Eby is ruining BC is fiscal mismanagement and government bloat. So let's talk about that,
Sure.
Brent. Fiscal mismanagement and government bloat, because there's been a lot of I mean, you can't not go to social media and you can't not open the newspaper or open your digital news if you get it on your internet or whatever, and not hear about all the fiscal mismanagement that's happening in the David Eby government.
Oh,
It's it's
it's everywhere.
it's it's
Yeah.
like never ending, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which news station you turn to or which social media you look at, there's always something going on. And then it's like when the narrative doesn't fit, it's like they change the narrative. They try to change the channel on the topic so that, oh, that's something new to talk about. And we'll be
Yeah.
diving into a lot of topics. And don't worry, everyone, if you're listening for PWD topic, that is going to be in the list too. So
It is.
I won't give
We're,
a
we're,
spoiler.
we're working down the list, so
Yeah.
we're going to cover the fiscal mismanagement. And I just wanted to refer to my notes here because I'm going to be referring to some articles.
Mhm.
So people that are a lot smarter than me and you, we have Vaughn Palmer, who's a political analyst here in
Mhm.
BC
Yep.
and a writer, and he wrote an article in the Vancouver Sun August 7th, so just a few days ago, and he it was a really good article, and he basically acknowledged, like, when John Horgan left, we all know that John Horgan left a $7 billion surplus.
Oh,
But then of course you have to acknowledge the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is that David Eby, when John Horgan left, David Eby inherited a overall debt of 89 billion dollars the year he took over from John Horgan, right? Because so
yeah.
because the overall provincial debt it's still 89 billion
Yeah.
dollars when David Eby took over, and so get this, that debt has soared to 133 billion dollars
Whoa.
in the 2 years that Eby has been premier.
Oh my gosh.
It has literally
Oh,
doubled. It
double.
has
Yeah,
literally
double.
it's a 50% increase. It
Yeah,
has
double. Yeah.
literally doubled.
Yeah.
Literally doubled. So it's a $44 billion increase in two
Wow.
years of debt. of debt since he took over from
Okay.
John Horgan,
And no increases. We're going to talk
and no increases.
no
And,
increase in
and
PWD rate.
and the other article I wanted to reference, again, a man way smarter than me and you, Brent, is Rob Shaw. We love watching
Yeah,
the podcast of Rob Shaw, and
political
he
capital. Yeah, it's
Political Capital,
Rob.
great podcast. So shout out to Rob Shaw.
I look forward
Um,
to it every time he has it on.
yeah, he wrote a piece in the Orca, which is a online. Does it also have print? I don't know, but it's an online news feed anyway.
Hmm.
And he had an article. He talks about unchecked contingency spending. So that's when you talk about contingency, you're talking about emergency monies that are being rated for day-to-day spending. Now that's really important. Like that's where we get to the government bloat part of the number one here when we talk about fiscal management and government bloat, because he talks about the fiscal year for 2024, 2025, and if you're in government, which I actually worked in government for about 7, 8 years, you know the fiscal year closes every year around March. End of March is the end of the fiscal year for 2025.
Hmm.
So Rob Shaw is saying at the end of the 2024-2025 fiscal year, it closed with a $7.3 billion deficit, the largest ever.
Whoa.
We're gonna be saying this a lot, Brent.
Yes,
We're gonna be saying this a
seven point
lot.
three billion.
The
Everyone.
largest ever in BC history. Like we're breaking records here, okay? So
Wow.
we're gonna be saying this a lot under David Eby's watch. And so that $7.3 billion deficit that blows past the biggest deficit that we had previously to that was right at the height of the pandemic. You
Yep.
know, so that was right at like year 2020 or so, right?
Yeah, it was 2020. Yeah, right. And
Yeah, 2020, 2021, right around there.
that was when the government had given the PWD the $300
Yeah,
supplement, and that was
yeah,
and even by giving that, they still had the surplus.
yeah.
And then, but they took some of that supplement away and then gave it back 2 years later. But yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, you have this $5.5 billion deficit at that time.
Hmm.
Um, and that so like I said, the 7.3 billion, it just blows past that, right?
Wow.
And so again, I want to concentrate on this whole contingency
Yes.
thing, because because why provincial governments have contingency funds is for things like actual emergencies like wildfires and things
Yeah.
like that.
Rainy day funds.
Rainy day funds. And
And, yeah.
typically, and we're going to be talking about Carol James later on.
Mhm.
She was John Horgan's first finance minister.
That's right.
Um, and typically, when you talk about contingency funds, you typically budget about 550 million or so, roughly, like you know, a lot of money, but not like way up there, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Just
guess how much was set aside for contingencies in the last budget that David Eby put out.
let me guess. I'll take a wild guess. Okay, so Carol James, yeah, on average it was like $500 million. I mean, for fighting forest fires. I mean, things that happen, like emergencies that
Like
happen.
we're talking big time emergencies,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also for diverting funds to social development and social
Yeah.
services like welfare and disability assistance, right?
Mhm.
That accounts for emergency as well,
Right. Yeah.
and
Just in case they come up.
that's where the COVID supplement came in, right?
Yeah. And
Was
so I'm going to take a wild guess here. I'm going to throw it out on average 500 million. I'm going to say, oh, how much was budgeted in on that? Oh, 1.5 billion.
Oh, it's way
Wait,
way higher, Brennan. Way
two,
higher,
2 billion,
way higher.
three, three.
Up.
Oh, we're playing the prices right, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, five. 5 billion.
Not quite. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what it is. It's 3.9 billion. So
Whoa!
almost $4 billion. And again, let's
Oh,
compare it to Carol James, the
whoa!
finance minister originally in 2017. She would budget contingencies of 500 million.
That's
And
eight
David
times
Eby.
higher. That's 8 times higher almost.
Oh, I know, and
Whoa!
so
That's like eight
and this
years
is.
worth.
And this is where, again, the majority of the so-called contingencies has gone to keep ministry offices afloat.
That's like eight
So
years of that 500 million. That's 8 years worth in
yeah,
one year.
guess how much? I know I'm spending a lot of time on this,
Yeah.
but it bears to like put a pin on this one because guess how much of that 3.9 billion dollars. I was going to say million, it's
Yeah.
billion.
Yeah. Billion. Yeah.
3.9 billion dollars. Guess how much of that 3.9 billion was diverted just to keep the ministry offices afloat. So we're talking like again, it's like ministry aids and things like that.
Yeah.
Like just
Keep them going.
keep the
Yeah.
lights on, keep the lights on in the ministry
Uh,
offices. Guess
Probably
how
about
much
two,
was
2 billion.
it was 3.4 billion was diverted just for
Wow.
the ministry offices.
So yeah, 3.4 versus the 3.9. So then they left it with that 500 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you
Wow.
imagine? So again, this is just to keep the bloat afloat. I'm going to call it the keeping the bloat afloat.
Keep the bloat afloat. Say that a few times. Keep the
Keeping the bloat
bloat
afloat
afloat.
is
Oh,
3.4 billion just
disgusting,
to keep the ministry
disgusting.
lights on.
But there's no increases to all the ministries for for school for children like who are in band. They go to extracurricular activities. There's all those
Yeah.
programs. Cut, cut, cut.
Yeah.
Nothing for toward the Ministry of Social Development Poverty Reduction. Nope. They're just all that money has gone in there to keep things going. So because there's as we know, there's more people coming on board into the system. So what they did is they put the money in there to keep it going for new
Yeah.
applicants coming on, but nothing for the existing recipients that are there. So I guess what we're talking about, everybody, is it's keeping status quo going, but there's nothing to see going forward. It's
Yeah.
the more to do narrative. We hear you, we see you, yeah, but all that money, there's nothing to see for it, though. And
Yeah, I know.
here's the kicker, though, that one of my neighbors was just talking to me actually yesterday about was, and kind of exactly what we're talking about right now. There's nothing to see for all that money, and there's no accountability. That's the number one.
Yeah.
Only time there's accountability, and Vaughn Palmer and Rob Shaw talk about this. There's no accountability until that money is spent. Once that money is spent, now there's accountability. Otherwise, they could just throw it around here and there.
Well, exactly. This is what Rob Shaw actually mentioned in the article
Yeah.
is when it's contingency funds, when it's contingency money, there doesn't have to be accountability. That's the get out of jail free
Well,
card for contingency money.
well,
Is
must
that
be monopoly.
it doesn't have to be debated in the legislature. They can just go
Wow.
ahead and spend it.
Yeah, it's like putting the money on free parking. I remember on the monopoly
Yeah.
putting the money on free parking. Yeah, you land on free parking. You win on this. That's not part of the rules, but they just make up the rules as you go along, right?
So that there's a few areas in contingency funds that I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
So you have so this is how much more was diverted in emergency funds. Well, I have to say this is diverted emergency funds. So the education ministry got 48.5 million dollars extra. So
That's
this
it.
is extra funds
Yeah.
in what they already were budgeted. They got
Yeah.
48.5 million dollars extra for something called the Future Ready Action Plan. And again, there's no
That's
like you were saying, there's no accountability. It's just a line item, and
yeah.
it's just like 48.5 million. And again, there's no discussion. They don't have to rationalize it. They can just put a line item and say it's contingency, and end of story, right?
Hmm.
The next line item is the public safety ministry. Again, extra. They got $65.5 million extra for something in the policing and security programs. But
Oh,
again, no explanation as to what that is. There's just a line item of,
mm,
well, this is extra money.
yeah,
Tick that off.
yeah.
You know,
A little
and
bit for you, a little bit from here, a little bit for
yeah,
you.
and the one that I love or hate the most is the Government Communications Office.
Oh yeah,
And we all know what that is, eh? We
oh
all know
yeah,
what the
yeah.
Government Communications Office is. So it's all the ad spending of like, are we doing a great job?
Hooray!
So
Hooray!
again, this is extra money. This isn't what was originally budgeted. So this is extra money we're talking about.
Extra, extra. Read all
It
about
uh so guess what the Government Communication Office had originally budgeted for? They had originally in their budget they were given how much, Brent? Just guess.
150 million.
Well, no, it was $31.6 million
Oh,
is what they had in their budget originally, and then they were given extra emergency funds
oh.
up of an extra 8.8 million
Hmm.
because they I guess they figured they didn't have enough ads to say
Oh,
what a wonderful job we're doing, so they wanted to spend another $8.8 million to tell everybody what a wonderful
oh
job they're doing. Yeah.
my
So
gosh.
so anyway, that's number one. And we actually spent how long? Well, actually, we're not doing too bad. I thought we were going too much over, but we're not doing too bad.
No.
So that's the first one, and the next one, you're gonna like this
Two,
one.
everyone. Number two.
Yeah, you're gonna like this one, Brent. Ready?
Yep.
Drum roll, drum roll. It's number two is the housing crisis and PWD rates. We're gonna kind of lump everything together
Yep.
because the PWD rates are really connected
Yep.
a lot to housing. So it's housing crisis, PWD rates, and I've also thrown in there the Canada Disability Benefit false hope. So
Yep.
all three of those are
Yep.
really
All wrapped around.
closely tied together, right? So we're going to cover all three of those things in one lump of the housing crisis because it's all really connected there, right? So we wanted to cover that
Yes.
off. So I didn't know if you had some opening
Yeah.
comments
Yeah.
about that,
Yeah.
Brent.
I'll start on that topic. So as Neil mentioned, yeah, those three topics, the housing crisis, the PWD rates, and the Canada Disability Benefit. It was all, yeah, it's like broken promises, really. I mean, like the Canada Disability Benefit. So each province basically, pretty well, for PWD, they're waiting on the Canada Disability Benefit. It was going to be historic. It's going to help lift, at least 1.5 million Canadians out of poverty. That was the original slogan. The government kept an eye on it while keeping an eye on it. And it got closer and closer after it finally got through royal assent in the federal government. They were told there were safeguards that were supposed to be in place, but the federal government decided again that no, we're going to ignore the safeguards. So that when I say safeguards, meaning that it was supposed to be rolled out properly, right? I mean, testimonial statements. I mean, you name it, committee through the committee stages. We had members of parliament who basically told the federal government, they don't do it this way, do it this way. Oh, okay. And I'm just summarizing everything, everybody.
Mhm.
So they basically said, yeah, yeah, yes, man, and no problem. And they were guaranteed that, yeah, they signed off on it. And MPs who basically had cheered on, saying that, yeah, this is great, this is awesome at the time. Unfortunately, the federal government said, yeah, well, those are nice words. We didn't really mean to accept your the recommendations, and they signed off on those recommendations.
Yeah.
They basically threw it back in their faces. They threw it back into two people that were on their committee that were kind of the go-to people, and we had them
Yeah.
on our podcast
Yeah.
before, and
Yeah.
that was a gut punch right back at them.
Neil Belanger, and Michael Prince.
Yeah, and they stepped back. They resigned from it. They were done with it. And I guess to me in British Columbia, I looked at this whole situation from day one, and I thought, wow, I was cautiously optimistic, but I had that gut feeling that the federal government was going to screw this up. I
Yeah.
figured that basic income would be the way to go because it's going to help everybody. Nobody's going to be left behind. But no, the federal government is just don't seem to want.
And really, I'm going to stop you there,
Yeah.
Brent. Is really is that that our provincial government should have known that the federal government was going to screw it up, right?
Well, yeah.
But they were like, this is what I mean about false hope, is they were pinning when we were all saying like, when are you going to raise PWD rates here in BC?
Hmm.
What did Sheila Malcolmson say? Well,
Yeah.
we have the CDB that's coming. We have the CDB
Yeah, and
coming.
that's what I kept hearing is, oh, the
Yeah.
CEB's coming, and I mean, I had staffers who basically told me that, yeah, like quietly, like, yeah, we got off the phone with the federal minister, minister for the inclusion for people with disabilities, federal on the federal level, and they assured that yes, it is gonna be coming, but what was the dollar amount? Well, apparently the minister, one of the staffers in British Columbia was told, well, yeah, they wouldn't get the dollar amount. Well, you know why they didn't get the dollar amount? Because the federal government was embarrassed that they screwed it up.
Yeah.
They screwed it up, but of course, BC is waiting to hear, is it going to be adequate enough? So I guess they must have been assured that, yeah, it's going to be good. So they ran with it. And when I say
Yeah.
they ran with it, David Eby's government now basically put it in the platform saying CDB, Canada Disability Benefit, in the platform. Why? Because the federal government made the premiers think that, yeah, it's going to be great. And they would have consulted with the minister, say, is this right? Yeah, well, that's what they told me. Okay, we'll put it in our platform. So they ran with it. The reason for not wanting to increase the BC disability benefits. And so again, they figured everyone's going to qualify. Well, hello, what if people don't qualify for it? I mean, I won't even say give the federal government the benefit of the doubt, but I'd
Yeah.
say, well, what if? What if? You always have to have a plan B as a backup.
Yeah.
So if plan A didn't work, okay, well,
What if Neil and Brent don't qualify for the CDB?
exactly. So, like, why not just raise the rates up? Now, if they do qualify for it, now the provincial government, the federal government can actually work with that
Yeah.
situation. But no, they threw all their eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
The BC government threw all their eggs in one basket and waited on the federal government. I knew that it was going to backfire. I don't know why. I just had that gut
Yeah.
feeling. And
And
again, and then we tied into the housing because if you don't have the number one, you don't have the finances
mhm.
either from provincial or the Canada Disability Benefit, and you got the unaffordable housing, which Canada right now, every single jurisdiction is in a housing crisis, right? It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
province or territory you're in. I mean, some areas housing is a little bit cheaper, but the income's not there to match the housing
Yeah.
costs. And so it's reverse. It doesn't matter which geographic area you are in Canada. However, and that's a common theme that I hear from people that are making good, very good money, six-figure salaries in some cases, and they got high mortgages or they got high rents. The time they pay for all their the basic necessities in life, you got nothing left. So you have to start juggling it. Imagine being a person with disabilities who don't have all those six-figure salaries. I mean,
Yeah.
or and the rates haven't been increased in 4 years, and that's
Well, we'll have six-figure salaries when we hit when we hit it big on YouTube, Brent.
yeah, exactly. And then we'll take care of the PWD who the government
And then David Eby will be begging us for money. Yeah.
exactly, and then we'll
I
take
just
care of it.
wanted to quickly because we actually devoted a whole show to housing.
Yeah,
Just our last show was all
yeah.
about housing. So uh, again, I just wanted to basically repeat what I said on that podcast was, that it was David Eby himself that had the file. He had the housing file
That's right.
under Horgan, right?
Yeah.
And David Eby had this wonderful idea of, oh, well, actually, when he took over from as Premier too, he had this BC Builds idea, right? BC
Right.
Builds, and he was going to build affordable housing.
Oh,
And again, we talked about affordable housing being RGI or rent geared to income. So
right.
it being one third of your income. So in our case, one third of our income, which is our whole income is $1,500 here in BC. So
Yeah,
one third of that is
yeah.
500 bucks, right? So ideally affordable rent for us, for you and me, Brent, is $500 a month.
Yeah, or just
Uh,
under. Yeah.
or just under that. So, but guess how bloated. We're going to talk about government bloat again. Guess how bloated this affordable housing definition
Hmm.
became under David Eby's definition. His definition of affordable housing turns out it's $3,500 to $4,000 a month
Go.
rent or housing expense is 3,500 or to $4,000 a month.
Yeah. So
So
seven to eight times the $500 shelter allowance that BC government gives
yeah,
people with disabilities. Now, I'm going to make sure that this myth is squashed because regarding the shelter because there are people out in communities and I hear it from like my neighbors or they'll say, oh, my relatives have told me that the shelter is above you or you're 1483.50. Okay, so that is a false narrative. That is not true. Okay,
that's a narrative too. We have to say
yeah,
that the government wants they
yeah,
want people to believe that, of
yeah. So
course,
I'm
right?
gonna make sure that just to validate the clarity on that. So PWD in British Columbia and all provinces that have the PWD designation or provinces that don't have the PWD designation, but they call it as I don't know. They may say the most vulnerable, or they may say, well, here's a supplement for because you have a disability. I want to see all that fix. Every province and territory have that proper designation. But
Yeah.
anyway, that'll be another show.
So
Um,
let's finish off on this too, Brent. Is so there's about 26% here in BC. Like
mhm.
we'll just take the BC case
Yeah,
here. 26% here on PWD qualify for for subsidized housing
mhm.
because that's all that's available, right?
Yeah,
That's all that's available. So there's only 26% of people that are on PWD get subsidized housing. The rest of us are paying market rents.
market
So
rent.
76% are paying market
Yeah, and you
on $500 shelter per month.
yeah, and you imagine everyone is at 1483.50. Tell me anywhere in BC you can get a housing for 1483.50, and that's
Yeah.
not including your tenant insurance because a lot of property management companies I found are now requiring, not asking, requiring you to pay and to show them that you have tenant insurance. If you do not have it,
Yeah.
and I can tell you because I live in a place that if I didn't have tenant insurance at the time when I moved in, I couldn't move in. That was
Right.
the condition, and a lot of them are doing that now, and that's not cheap. That's another
Yeah.
expense. So your shelter is included. I'll repeat again, included in that cost. So if you
Yeah.
don't have a physical address, you don't get that shelter allowance. So now they're going to take that $500 off your 1483.50. And so if you don't have a permanent address, that meaning when I say permanent address, meaning that you need to be showing that that is the address that you're living at. If you don't have it, you don't get it. So now imagine is that you don't have an address, but you say I found a place that I need to rent. So now you're going to go to a manager in one of the market housing rentals or like a basement suite, a condo, apartment, you name it, anywhere in the market housing
Mhm.
sector, and you say, well, I've only got 983.50 now.
Yeah.
They're going to look at you and say, well,
They're
now,
gonna laugh in your
yeah,
face. Yeah.
they say,
Yeah.
but if you rent to me, I'll get another $500 from
Yeah,
the
and
government.
we did cover all that
Yeah,
in the last podcast. So
yeah,
if anybody really wants to dive into it deep, we dived into it deep on the last
yeah,
podcast.
and we talked a lot about that. And so again, like the CDB not getting that, like that is detrimental
Yeah,
for people's well-being. And it tying the rates in, like the rates haven't been increased in 4 years. I mean, and that is a political decision. The government can easily do that now. It's just a choice, right? And they chose not to. And I mean, speaking of the RGI, I wanted to quickly add this one part in here.
yeah.
People have seen on your social media feeds, global news in BC covered a story just recently, and then they did an update on the same story because they did a follow up with the Ministry of for Housing and also the
Mhm.
Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction. Um, I guess the minister wasn't available for housing, They had the critic on there for housing, but the Minister for Housing wasn't available, and the Minister of Social Development Poverty Reduction. I didn't see a comment like for a video or audio. It was just a written statement saying from the minister saying that they recognize that that there's obviously an issue and it needs to be addressed. And what I'm actually saying is there's a couple that are in co-op housing in British Columbia. Just recently, they were given a notice that their rent was going to be increasing up to $920
I heard that.
of their 12. I think they're paying $1,200 and some dollars in rent. It was going to push their rent over $2,000. They're on. I mean, they're PWD, persons with disabilities in BC. They're in co-op housing. I mean, they could be in BC housing, but here's the kicker: under the Residential Tenancy Act, okay, I think there's a shady area there because they're in co-op housing.
Yeah,
they can probably not really fall right under the market housing guidelines.
Yeah,
they fall under BC housing guidelines, and
Right.
BC housing says, oh well, we're following the CMHC guidelines, which stipulate that if they are a household income, their household income apparently exceeded too much. And I talked about this in an episode regarding about housing. So go back and listen to that episode about housing. But that story, it really resonates.
Well, you know what, Brent? We're also going to be talking about this maybe in more detail on the podcast after this.
Yes.
On Monday.
Yeah.
It's gonna be about basically we'll call it an emergency podcast because if you see the thumbnail, it's about this broken glass with the axe, and it's like break the glass in case of emergency. So we're gonna be talking about basically the crisis of being on disability assistance in British Columbia.
So it kind of blends in what we're saying now is that you go back to the housing episode and then stay tuned to Monday's episode because we're going to be diving into a blend of a lot of things. So
basically the level of crisis of just living, just trying to live on assistance.
Mode.
Yeah. So let's try to go through this list. We're actually not doing too badly, but I wanted to shout out Peter Cunnington in chat.
Hey, Peter.
And he was saying, let's see up further here. He made a comment. He says, I have subsidized housing, but I had to wait 12 years for it. So that's his comment. We have Inga in chat, and she's saying, with 1483.50, you have maybe $1,000 rent if you're lucky. I think she's saying that right now she's got $1,000 rent, which is like dirt cheap, we have to say. And then she's got her bills and everything and food on top of that. So I mean, even at $1,000 rent, which is dirt cheap, she's still like really hurting,
Yeah, I mean, that's like $483.50 out of out of the whole check left to basically pay for bills and food. I mean, there are people in where I live that they're grandfathered in. Some rents are still. Some people are paying. There's one gentleman paying $960, but most of them are paying $1,000 and a few dollars. So. But the average rents, we're going to be talking more about that on the crisis situation. But it's a kind of an echo across our whole country, and it's not acceptable that any premier allows PWD to live in legislative poverty, right? I mean, people are designated and assessed by practitioners. They were put through a lot of testing in order to have the designation. Government, don't you think, this is a message for the government, don't you think that if people were able to be self-sufficient, I mean, we were born this way, or you develop disabilities in life. I mean, I used to be like 100% self-sufficient. I never thought, I heard about the Ministry of Social Services, they called it way back when, welfare. It was always a trend, welfare, income assistance. It's finally got changed in people with disabilities. And then I thought, my mom had told me, they have pensions for people with disabilities. Pensions, really? But I wasn't even on the system then.
They were pink unicorned.
I said, but I have disabilities. She goes, Well, maybe eventually you should maybe apply for that, Brent, to be protected of pensions. So anyway, yeah, whatever. We're not
Let
going to go to
let
rabbit hole, but
Yeah, let's go to the next topic because you're talking about medically assessed
yeah.
disabilities, and I wanted to talk about a story that was fairly current in the local news here. So
Hmm.
let's go to the second or the third topic, excuse me, and it's hospital wait times and rolling closures. Hospital wait times and rolling closures.
Hmm.
And one of the stories I wanted to get to, it's kind of it was talked about, and then I think it's kind of been forgotten, unfortunately. But it kind of speaks to me personally because it was a boy with cerebral palsy. There was a
Oh,
boy called Braden Robbins.
yes, yes.
Braden Robbins. He was an 11-year-old boy with CP, cerebral palsy, who died in November of 2024. So,
I
you know,
remember that story.
fairly recently, and he died of a brain bleed and
Oh,
hydrocephalus. So it's basically a
yeah,
fluid buildup in the brain, right?
yeah.
And Braden Robbins, he lived on Vancouver Island, so where you are, Brent. His family took him to the North Island Hospital in Comox Valley,
Mm.
and he was sent home with Tylenol.
Oh,
That was the first time they sent him home with Tylenol. Um, he had a head tilt, a tingling in his nose, a severe neck and shoulder pain, sorry, and then but they just sent him home with the Tylenol. But and his
oh,
parents, his mother,
yeah.
was saying like this is not normal for my son,
No, exactly.
and I can testify to this too because I mean I have CP and that's not normal to have a head tilt and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And anyway, so 6 days later they returned again to the hospital, and this time their son Braden was screaming in pain, like literally
Mhm.
screaming in pain.
Agony, yeah.
Yeah. So they went to the ER, and the parents urged the hospital to please send him to BC Children's Hospital in Vancouver.
Hmm.
But they were told no, we're not going to do it.
Oh,
They
why?
couldn't arrange. They had to do like arrange for like a chopper or a plane or something to airlift him
Hmm.
to Vancouver, and they said we're not going to do it.
My gosh.
And even before this, I have to say, like six days before this, the mother was saying, like, can you please do a CT scan?
Hmm.
Because this is not normal for my son. So
Yes.
again, the hospital's not listening to the parents, right? The parents know best.
Yeah.
We have we say
Usually
this
that's
we
the
say that we
case.
say this all the time. Like
Yeah,
the parents know their kids the best, right?
absolutely.
If it's not normal for their son or daughter to be a certain way, I
Hmm.
mean, it's the same. It was the same thing with Charlie Pollock too, right?
I was just gonna say, yeah,
You
and
know,
you know,
the
the government's changed the channel on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were so quick to change the channel on,
Oh
right? I
yeah.
was like, yeah, we funded it, so let's forget about it now. Anyway, so again, in this case, with this Braden Robbins, the mom said, "Can I please get a CT scan?" And was told no, because there was inadequate funding or inadequate staffing,
Hmm.
uh, and a lack of staff available for the transport helicopter. So that's two reasons why. That's two reasons why basically he died. So if he was able to get like the CT scan is so basic,
Yeah.
such a
Mhm.
basic request, really, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Like, so if the mother got the request 6 days ago when they first got to the hospital, 6 days
Mhm.
previous, and they got the CT scan, they would have been able to say, oh, this is uh, uh,
Yeah,
something is happening to the brain.
yeah, they'd have a prognosis of what's going on. Right.
They would have known, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because of all these rolling closures and cutbacks,
Yeah.
budgetary things,
And I thought,
uh,
all these doctors and
you
nurses from
know,
abroad.
and it's leading to
Hmm.
direct death It's leading
Yeah.
to direct death of people, right? And I will say too, let's shut out the women too that have to do mammograms and
Yep.
breast cancer screenings.
Yep.
Uh, guess how much the those screenings like the wait times for the screenings have gone up to Brent.
Oh, I can just imagine.
Um, yeah,
And
the
leaving.
wait times for that has is up to like 6 months, and there's one woman in Regina. They said that the wait times are the highest by far in Saskatchewan and BC, and apparently there was one woman in Regina that had to wait 10 months,
Oh
10
my.
months for a
Oh,
cancer screening for a mammogram.
that's
It's
unacceptable.
just crazy, right?
Yeah.
So again, and rolling closures now are so common now.
I keep hearing a lot of that up in the Okanagan, up in the Kootenays area, northern health region, especially up in uh, where is it up Peace River, I think Fort St. John area. There's also out of where was it out of where was that? Kamloops. There was also out of Merritt there. They were closing the hospital there for a while. They were telling people to go out to Kamloops, which is another hour drive or 45 minutes to an hour drive. What if you don't have transit? There is no transit. I can tell you there's no transit from those two communities. So how do
Yeah.
you get there if you need to have medical emergency? Like you need to go to Merge. What about communities that are outlining areas that people need to get urgent care, immediate care?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, not open until 8 o'clock in the morning. We're shut down, in the evenings now. Yeah.
Yeah, and they literally don't have enough money to keep the lights on now, so they
Uh,
have to do these rolling
but
closures,
they have
which
no problem bloating the government, though. Like the
yeah,
government and the government, they have no problem putting the money there.
yeah.
Uh,
Let's float the bloat. Let's
yeah,
float the
just float
bloat.
the bloat, everyone. Just float the.
Brent. Yeah. Let's move on to four because we gotta kind of
Yeah,
quickly go through these
yeah. We'll
here.
start escalating through. Yeah.
So, so number four, let's do the drum roll again, Brent. Number four is fentanyl and homelessness because they're
Oh
kind
yeah.
of related. So we're going to talk about fentanyl and homelessness. So let's talk about that one.
All right.
And I wanted to start off with this is a kind of a big one, and we're going to try to go rapid fire if we can
Yeah.
through this one. But there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. Let's start with the fentanyl thing. David Eby loves to blame Trump for everything, right? It's all Trump's fault that I wasn't able to do the $1,000 rebate, right? I mean, we
Mm,
can talk about that later, maybe,
yeah.
but it's like it's Trump's fault. Like it's the U.S. tariffs. It's all his fault. But you know what? I just have one thing I want to say to that, Brent. There's a little thing called the CIA. There's a little thing called the CIA in the United States, the Central Intelligence Agency,
Mm-hmm.
and they're kind of pissed off. They're kind of pissed off at David Eby.
Mm,
They consider David Eby a flight risk, a security risk to their country. David
mm,
Eby is officially considered a flight risk or a security risk to the country of the United States. It's not Trump. It's David Eby that's considered a flight risk or security risk. And why is that, Brent? Why
mm.
is that? Because of
What?
fentanyl. Fentanyl.
Oh.
BC, one thing that David Eby loves to say. I hear him say it all the time now. Is that BC, British Columbia it will be the economic engine of Canada.
Yeah, yeah. I heard that just
He
the other
he
day.
keeps
Yeah.
saying that, and you know what? The only thing that BC is the
I was like, what?
economic engine on is fentanyl production and just distribution. That's
I
the
get that
that's the only
economic.
thing they're doing to lead the country on or lead the province on is fentanyl production and
Wow.
distribution. And yet he's saying,
Mm.
oh, that BC is going to be the economic engine of Canada. Well, that's a bunch of BS. We know that's just
It's all rhetoric.
yeah. So for David Eby to just keep pinning everything on Trump and says, well, Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, Trump is listening to the CIA.
Mhm.
So for people that think that Trump is a stupid man, I'm sorry, he's not a stupid man because he's listening to the CIA, and the CIA is saying that David Eby, the premier of British Columbia, is a flight risk. He's a security risk to the security of the United States.
Wow.
That's just that is the bottom line truth and fact, Brent,
Hmm.
is that David Eby is a security risk, a flight risk for the security and protection of the United States government and their people. And it's because of the fentanyl production that David Eby says doesn't exist, or it's like it's that somehow that Trump is overblowing has overblown it, but he's not overblown it because the CIA has they have their own very intelligent people. That's what the CIA is. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
intelligent people that suss that stuff out.
Well, you see, the other issue is, I mean, I also blame our federal government too, because they could actually put more policing at our ports, our port of entries, through our shipping yards. And
Yeah,
you've got those cargoes, the cargo ships, and they bring in um, all the transport stuff. I mean, you look at all the ports. We got the port of Vancouver, we got the port of Delta, and you got all the yards there, and they're all stacked up. You got all these double like quadruple stacks of containers that are there, and then they get loaded onto flatbed trucks. They get loaded onto trains. They get shipped across our country, but they stop in certain areas, right? So they're gonna get dropped off all that cargo. Well, only 1% of all those shipping containers gets checked by security
yeah,
there. Why? Because the federal government had cut back all the funding years
yeah,
ago. And now here's the problem. There's a lot of drug trafficking coming in there, and then it gets sent out. It doesn't get checked.
yeah.
Well, guess who picks it up? Well, I mean, who knows who picks it up, right? I mean, you get these trucking companies come and pick it up. They can take it off to some other warehouse somewhere, and then off to a distribution center.
Canada used to have its own CIA equivalent, but
They,
it's called CSIS. And I
yeah,
mean,
right.
CSIS is still around, but they've been gutted too now.
They've been really
They've been
watered down.
really gutted.
They really
Uh,
watered down. I mean, I
yeah,
know about all this shit, how the shipping container that process works.
yeah,
And, I mean, it goes through a transition, phase. Like I said, cargo ships, and then you got your containers, and then they can go loaded, like I said, flatbed trucks or onto trains.
hmm
And then there's intermodal transportation. It's logistics, and yeah, I mean, it needs to be all checked 100%, not just 1% of all the goods and services coming into our ports. It
yeah,
needs to be 100% checked, because what could go wrong when you only have 1% checked? We got a fentanyl crisis happening.
yeah,
And because that stuff goes and gets reproduced into factories, and then it gets then shipped out again. So now, where does it get shipped? We know.
yeah,
That's why there's a big problem. I learned all
yeah,
this stuff in college. I learned
yeah.
about the
So let's talk connected to the fentanyl thing.
hmm
You have supportive housing here in BC.
Yeah.
Um, there was an article recently again talking about that there were staff and other residents in supportive housing that were inhaling fentanyl smoke,
Oh God.
and then they're saying, well, actually, that's really bad for your health. So you have all these supportive housing now,
hmm
where people are just free to like have their free safe supply fentanyl stuff, and they can just smoke up and do whatever they want whenever they want, and there's no and so it's like
Terrible.
they value the addiction. They want to protect the addiction more than they want to protect the staff,
hmm
more than they want to protect the staff and the other residents of supportive housing.
And
So
then
you
they're
have
coming there with their weapons too, apparently. Like, yeah, I heard about that on the news.
yeah, so you have the staff that are in this social housing, and you have other residents that are in social housing that might not have any drug issues, but
Mhm.
they're forced to inhale all this fentanyl smoke, and apparently it's like hugely detrimental to your health. And the provincial government basically saying, "Whoopsie, whoopsie, our bad. Sorry about that."
Yeah, there's
You know,
more to do to
and
fix. problem.
And then to jump off of that, Brent, as I'm going to go rapid fire
Yeah.
through this. Another whoopsie, another huge whoopsie is this. You have there was another article that was news story that ran. It was actually on the news with a video, and we don't really have time to play the
Yeah.
video, but there's a mom in Delta, and she has children in this is elementary school children, an elementary school. So you're talking like again like grades 1 to 7 is elementary,
Yeah.
and they had this event on at the school, and there was these colorful kind of hockey cards,
Oh,
like
yeah.
really colorful hockey cards, but they were drug hockey cards. They were
Oh.
all about the drugs. So there was like these colorful hockey cards all about there was about heroin. Like we have this colorful word heroin with all these like rainbow colors and bright colors and like how to take a safe dose of heroin and how to take a safe dose of cocaine and they even had these hockey cards on date rape
In elementary
in
school.
elementary school.
Wow.
Elementary school, they had these
Wow.
hockey cards being handed out to these elementary school kids,
Oh my
and
God.
they even had a hockey card. They even had a hockey card on date rape drugs,
Oh my
on
God.
like a safe dose of how to administer a date rape drug.
Oh my
They
gosh. How elementary has changed since I was in elementary school. Wow.
Yeah,
What,
so they had this
oh, upside
and
down.
they had this and guess what the Delta School Board said? The
Hmm.
Delta School Board responded and said,
Get that
we're
crap
taking
in.
responsibility for the lack of oversight. But guess
Oh,
what? They said we're taking responsibility for this lack of oversight. But guess what? Guess what? It's a lie, Brent. It's a lie, and I'll tell you why it's a lie.
hmm.
Because if you dig a little deeper, there's a place called it's AVI Health and Community Services, AVI Health and Community Services,
Hmm.
and they were the ones that produced these hockey cards, and they were the
Oh,
ones that had set up their tent and they were handing out these hockey cards
oh,
of like heroin and cocaine and fentanyl and whatever else. It's
yeah.
AVI Health and Community Services, and guess what, Brett? They are funded. They are funded by the provincial government. They are
Oh,
funded by
wow.
the
Geez.
province of BC, and they are funded by the Ministry of Health. They get they
Geez.
they
So
get
they were
public money from
contracted out. They were
they get
contracted.
money from the provincial
Oh,
the Ministry of Health, and they get money from ding 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 the Ministry of Education.
oh.
So so
Everyone, that's where your tax dollars are going, everyone.
when the Delta School Board said we're taking
Wow.
responsibility for a lack of oversight, it's a lie because this AVI Health and Community Services were being directly funded
Oh my gosh.
by with taxpayer money
Oh,
from the provincial government,
terrible.
from the Ministry of Health,
Wow.
and from the Ministry of Education
Yeah.
because supposedly teaching our kids how to take drugs and how to administer date rape drugs
Oh, jeez.
is responsible. It's a
Yeah.
responsible thing to do.
So they're taking money out of the healthcare and they're taking money out of the education to fund a AVI to basically promote this narrative.
So yeah, so again, I just have to say this is another huge reason of how David Eby's government and David Eby himself is ruining British Columbia. He's
Wow.
ruining British Columbia because
Hmm.
he's allowing addictions, and he's saying, you know, he's basically government is what do you want to call it? They're basically signing off on it and saying, yeah, drug addiction is fine. We're the enabler. We're the enablers.
Yeah. It's
Government
not,
government
nothing
has
to see here, folks. Nothing to see here.
government has become the enablers of drug addiction,
Hmm.
and David Eby thinks that's great. David Eby thinks that's great, and that is why he's ruining BC. He's ruining British Columbia because he thinks enabling drug addiction is great. It's wonderful, wonderful policy to do that. It's not. It's not wonderful policy. It sucks, and
Yeah.
that is why he's ruining British Columbia, Brent.
And that's why I say at the beginning of the show, everyone, how is David Eby ruining British Columbia?
Yeah.
And these are
Anyway,
all the seven things right now we're going.
I knew I was gonna get heated about, but I'm like I'm a parent, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself like
Well,
if
exactly. Yeah.
if Jake had gone, like he's in high school now, but
Yeah.
even in high school,
Yeah.
if he was given these hockey cards, I would have been furious.
Oh, yeah.
But I can just imagine that if he was in elementary school
Yeah.
still, and he brought home these hockey cards about how to take heroin,
Yeah. You'd be
and
like, what the?
I found out that the BC government is directly funding this AVI Health and Community Services
Oh,
because it's the right thing to do to teach our kids how to be addicted to drugs.
wow. Yeah. I can just,
Isn't that stupid, Brett? That is
yeah.
stupid. That is stupid.
I mean, for me, I can't even wrap my head around it because to me, it
Like
doesn't make any.
as a parent, it makes my blood boil. It makes
Well,
my blood
yeah.
boil that somebody like David Eby thinks that drug addiction is a joke.
Hmm. I know that if
Yeah.
I had brought cards home and I would when I was in elementary school and my mom she would have marched right down to the government. Oh yeah, she would not take crap and she would have marched down there and said and thrown all the cards on the desk and said, "Here, you take it." So I'm sure
Yeah.
she would have said that. She would have said, "Here, you take the all the drugs. You take all that. Don't teach the kids."
Yeah,
I
I
just
like
said, "Ooh,
if David Eby wants his own collection of fentanyl, like go at it. Like, but don't give it to my kids,
wow,
and don't give it to the rest of the kids in British Columbia because we don't want it. We don't want it. And how much money is the government wasting on all
that's
these
what,
programs where they're giving this free money to this AVI Health and
yeah."
Community Services,
How many
teaching our
million?
kids how to become addicted,
How many million
literally
are
teaching our
they?
kids how to become addicted, and this is fine. It's not fine, Brent. Just like the dog on the
Yeah,
it's like the dog on the thumbnail. It's not fine.
yeah. It's
You
like
know, it's not fine.
the pink unicorn is behind me. It's not fine. Like everything in the pink unicorn, realm of fiction. It's all great for the government, but in reality, these things are just mind-boggling. Like
Yeah.
never in my life would I ever thought they'd be handing out hockey cards of how to do drugs in elementary school or and making the awareness of well this is what will happen and all the different avenues that they're going down that pathway. It's like going
Yeah.
down that rabbit hole, and it kind of reminds me of a time where the state of Oregon had told the government, do not do this. This experiment is not working here.
Yeah.
Do not do it. And what did BC do? They went and did
Yeah.
exactly the opposite.
Well, you know what, Brent? We have like I said, this number 4. I titled it "Fentanyl and Homelessness," and we haven't really even touched homelessness. But you know what? We don't even have to
Yeah,
because the homelessness is directly tied to the fentanyl crisis. It's
yeah,
directly tied to the fentanyl. If the fentanyl crisis wasn't a thing, homelessness wouldn't be nearly as bad. So we almost don't even have to talk about homelessness because you know we already talked about fentanyl, and like I said, if fentanyl was out of the picture, if it was correctly dealt with, then homelessness, I mean, it would still be an issue, but
mm.
not nearly as bad as it is today.
Yeah, not as bad. I mean, I'll quickly just touch on the homelessness part. I mean, of course, that ties into our other the other number that we had just gone through regarding the PWD rates too. And I mean,
Yeah,
in anybody who's not even on PWD that maybe they worked in construction industry, metal fabrication, you laid tile down, maybe you were a roofer, anywhere in the construction industry, any sector, an accident happened. You lost your home. Maybe it was infested. Maybe it had rat infestation, or you had cockroaches or bed bugs, or your place got sold, condemned. I mean, I'm just giving everybody just a list of different
yeah,
things that can happen in a person's life. Uh, and if then you lose your home. Maybe it's sold, and you can't afford the market rent. Okay, so now you go on a waiting list for BC housing. Oh, well, there's more to do. The government says there's more to do.
10 year waiting list,
Yeah,
Brent. 10-year waiting list.
20.
Oh, 20 years,
Yeah,
20 years now. Excuse me.
yeah.
Yeah, 20
Well,
years now.
BC Housing actually confirmed with me. They said it's 20
Yeah,
plus.
it's
I said
20
20
years
plus
now. Yeah.
years, eh? So I said, so if I want to get into BC Housing, what do I have to do? well, you'd have to go on a waiting list, but you have to be homeless first. Oh, okay, but where are you now? Are you in BC housing? No, I'm in market housing, but I want cheaper rent. Sir, it
Yeah.
doesn't work that way. You can't. Oh, I say okay, so make myself homeless, and then I can now be on a list. Right, it's first come, first
Yeah,
serve.
because like I'll take my example was like I've been living here for 20 years in my condo here,
Mhm,
and just before we got this place, my first wife and I we looked at BC housing options,
mhm.
and so again, we're talking over 20 years ago. We looked at the BC housing options, and back then, 20 years ago, we were told it's about a 10-year waiting list. So
Wow.
so
Oh, yeah.
so it was a 10-year waiting list 20 years ago. It's now gone up to
Over
20
double.
years.
Over
Now
double.
it's
Yeah.
doubled. It's doubled in 20 years.
I mean, it depends. Yeah, I mean that number is double, and like as Peter had mentioned in the chat. I mean, look how many years it took him to get in there.
Hmm.
It's just ridiculous. And it comes down to what when a unit becomes available too. I mean, they may say, yeah, like this is how many years something comes available in an area that BC Housing says it's available. You need to now have you have two chances. You can take it, like we talked about one time, and then in the podcast there regarding that, it's like you take that. Oh, it didn't work for you. Okay, then you got one more chance,
Yeah.
and it has to be in the community that's available. So yeah, all of a sudden it's way up north. It could be way up in the Kootenays. Could be any in the different
You don't
health
need to get
movement.
anywhere, Brent, do you? You don't need to you don't
Yeah,
need to take a bus or
yeah.
go
They'll say,
go
yeah, you don't need
shopping or anything, right?
transportation. You don't need to go shopping. Yeah,
You don't need to buy food.
yeah,
You don't need to get to a you don't need to get to groceries. You
yeah,
don't
you
need
don't
to
need
get to
to,
a doctor.
yeah, you
You
don't
don't
need
need
to
to
go
get
to
to
the
a
doctor.
doctor or food if you're a disability, right,
Yeah,
Brent?
yeah, exactly. Because I mean, because you'll have RGI housing. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you want? You want cheaper housing? There it is. I mean, take
Yeah.
it or leave it. Oh,
Yeah.
does it have air conditioning? It doesn't matter, sir. Take it or leave it. Well, is it infested? Take it or leave it. You know?
And anyway, I have one closing comment before we
Yeah,
switch to
yeah,
the other topic here.
sure.
Again, we've talked about this on previous podcasts about Sam Sullivan
Yes.
had this great video that you sent
Oh,
me, or I think you
yeah,
sent it to me, or I sent it
yeah,
to
I
you, I
did.
forget now. But he talks about how the downtown east side here in Vancouver was a creation of government, of the provincial government. The provincial government actually created the downtown east side.
Oh, yeah, no, that's the one I sent you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but basically, the downtown east side, even when it was first created, it became an embarrassment. Like right away, it became an embarrassment for government. Like the government says, "I can't believe we did this." Like right
Mm.
away, it became this embarrassment. But what has David Eby done as premier in 2 years as premier? He's doubled down on it. He's doubled down on it. He goes, the DTS is a great idea. It's so great that we're gonna replicate it everywhere. So now you have the DTS like stamped everywhere across the whole province. It's like, you have homelessness in Surrey, you have homelessness in Maple Ridge, you have homelessness in like pick a neighborhood. It's
Like,
everywhere now,
yeah,
right?
like Victoria is really, really bad.
Like
Yeah.
like everywhere across the whole province now, they've got little like pockets of homelessness everywhere
Mhm.
because David Eby has done this copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Because like free drugs is great, and being soft on crime is great, and so that rolls us off into number five. So I'm gonna go to the next topic here. Uh,
Before Neil jumps into number five, you see homelessness. If they don't raise the PWD rates, guess what happens?
yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. So I just want
Yeah.
to put that part in there.
So here we have number five is soft on crime and bail reform. And
Mm.
remember, well, maybe people that don't know EB that well or don't know BC politics that well, if you do know EB, you know that he wrote a book. He wrote a book called How to Sue the Police.
Mm.
He wrote. I mean, people can look it up. People can look it up. It's How to Sue the Police, and it's got David Eby's name on it. Um, and so David Eby's got his fingers, he's got his fingerprints all over this soft on crime thing. You hear it all the time of people getting assaulted in stores or
Oh, yeah.
on the job, like say like store clerks and stuff. You have stores that are got video cameras and like security guards and all, they've really beefed up their security and cameras and security guards and stuff, and it's not even helping.
Yeah,
And
I remember the one day I was downtown Victoria. I had to, oh, this is go back, good while now, but I was on the bus. I had taken downtown Victoria. I had to get off and then quickly do just a few errands, and then I turn around and to go catch another bus to come back up out of downtown area because I don't live in the downtown area. Um, but when I went down, I witnessed something very briefly. I just kept on going. I mean, everybody's just kind of stopping, looking like, wow. And then that's when they had a 7-Eleven. They had a 7-Eleven that's right there. It's now all boarded up because
it's boarded up. Why, Brent? It's boarded
it's
up.
boarded up
Why?
because the owner kept on getting items nonstop stolen out of there. They would file an insurance claim. The insurance company would then cover it. It would be a rinse and repeat, a day after day, day after day.
Yeah.
And I found out tens of thousands of dollars. And I mean, constantly. It got to a point where I found out the insurance company said they will not be insuring the owner
Yeah.
longer. Imagine that, people. The
And,
insurance company
and,
won't insure you anymore.
yeah. And there was just a something on the news
The person was running out there actually.
yeah, there was something on the news just a few days ago too about another business owner. He has two businesses and he was the victim of arson twice. He
Mm.
had two businesses burned to the ground.
Oh
He had
no.
two businesses burned to the ground from deliberate arson.
Oh.
Set, you know, and the BC government goes kind of, oh well, gee, that's too bad.
Mhm.
But BC is the economic engine of Canada. Did you not know that BC is the economic engine of Canada?
The
But
engine that could, could.
businesses are burning to the ground because of arson, or businesses are closing their doors because they can't afford the cost of security cameras and security guards,
Yeah.
and they can't afford the cost of customers getting their beat up in the face and
Mhm.
physically assaulted, so their customers aren't coming to their stores anymore.
Yeah, I can tell you there is a Dollarama that's downtown Victoria. They used to have self-serve kiosks in there. They took them out. The store actually took the self-serve kiosks out. The reason why is because there was a lot of theft that was going on, and people were not scanning their stuff. They were just walking right through and out the door they went.
Right.
They got tight security in there now, but you can still see a lot of theft that's going on. I mean, a lot of
And
business.
and it's an added cost, right? It's an
It
added
is
cost
out
to
of
the
cost.
business.
And who pays for it? We do. We do as a consumer. We pay for that extra cost. Yeah,
Yeah,
the insurance
but
premiums go up.
but also it's an extra cost for the owners too. So
Yeah,
it's like
and then they
they're
can't
not they're
afford.
not making the profit margins as much as they used to because
Yeah,
of
and,
because of
and
all
then they
that.
yeah, and then they shut down their doors. And then customers say, "Well, where did that store go?" Well, they went out of business because their
They
costs, like I say, are going
they
up.
can't afford the cost of BC anymore.
Yeah, and if they do have to put the cost up, guess who pays for it? The consumer. They're going to pass it
Yeah,
on to the consumer,
yeah.
and the consumer, well, as we know, a lot of people are, living paycheck to paycheck. I know there's that narrative that's out there. People are $200 away from not being able to afford. Okay, reality. I don't know who started that narrative. I know it's been going since I was a teenager. I used to hear that people are $200 away from not being able to afford the groceries. Like that narrative has to change. People
Yeah.
are now $1 or maybe $5 away from not being able to afford things. I mean, in some cases, like they're in the red. They're in the red. They can't afford some.
I,
Yeah,
I I love this comment. We've got a comment from Don Sabrish or Sabash.
I don't.
He says if you want good pay, come up north, bring your scarf. We are the economic engine of Canada currently. And so that's a good comment from Don. Thank you for that.
Don,
Uh,
how's the healthcare up there? I mean, is there transit? I don't know where you
I
are.
don't know if there's a good
I'm just
transit
a
for if
funny thing out there, but I mean,
I don't know if there's good transit there for PWD or not, but
I know Christy Clark back then, and she used to say, "Well, if persons with disabilities don't like it, they could just move up north."
well,
Well,
if we had our own private plane, maybe it would
if
be
we had a
okay.
private jet, we could fly back and
Mm,
forth because a lot of the healthcare, a lot of the hospitals are shutting down their ERs and stuff. So
yeah.
I guess you'd have to fly down to the coast and hope that maybe something's open. But yeah, I'm curious on that though, Don. Send it in the comments if you're still watching. Just wondering like
let's
what community you're in and like,
let's go through these last two
yeah,
kind of rapid fire, Brent.
sure.
So number six, another drum roll. Number six is government by announcements. Government by announcements. Bill 7 and broken promises. Again, we're talking about
Oh, yes.
broken promises. Uh, the
Bill 7.
where I got the government by announcements or government of announcements. Remember when we had Sonia Frischno and Adam Olsen
Yeah.
on together. That was way back in 2022, back when you were on Twitter Spaces.
Hmm.
We had them at the end. It was right at the end. It was like in November of 2022. So before this podcast was a thing on YouTube,
Hmm.
you had something called Twitter Spaces.
Yeah.
Um, and it was Canadians with Disabilities Twitter Spaces. And what I did is I would cut up portions of that and post the interviews on the YouTube channel. And not many people will actually watch those videos, but
Yeah. Yeah.
they're still there. They're still there if people want to look it up though. The interview's still there. It's a cut down version. I think there's actually two videos. I broke it up into two parts, a part one and a part two. But anyway, there's one video that Adam Olsen, the one of the BC Greens at the time, he was talking about government of announcements.
Mm.
How basically the government just makes announcements, but they don't actually do anything. Like they're not actually doing
Results.
anything.
Yeah.
They
Showing you
just they
results
just
for
make announcements. It's all about making the announcements, and you don't really have to do anything,
we raised the rates 5 times.
right?
5 times. Okay. Well, how much? We raised the rates 5 times.
Yeah.
Announcements.
Yeah. So I remember like Sonia Frischno, the leader of the BC Greens at the time, uh, one of her quotes during that Twitter space in the
Hmm.
article in the interview that I saved, that there's a video there. She says, "Is the money our provincial government spends actually leading to positive outcomes?" uh,
Nope.
that's the question that she says that we need to ask. We need to ask ourselves: is the money our provincial government spends actually leading to positive outcomes?
I
And
give the answer on that one. A big giant no in
yeah,
letters. Nope.
again, so how is David Eby destroying BC, or how is he ruining BC, British Columbia?
There we go.
There's no accountability. You said it
Yeah.
already earlier. There's no
Yeah.
accountability.
No
It's
cabinet.
just let's spend the money, and we don't have to be accountable for it. We just gonna make all these flashy announcements
That's like
and
that's like giving a kid here's $100. Now, yeah, $100. I mean, wait, your penny years ago was a lot of money. I mean, you
yeah.
could get a lot of value with it. Now you go and say, here, kid, get out of my hair. Here's $100 for your lunch. Oh, thanks. Can I get 200? Oh, here, fine. Here's $200. So they go and give them $200, but there's no accountability for it. They didn't go buy lunch. What'd you go and do? Well, I went to a movie and partied up with my buddies and stuff. But can't like there's no accountability. I'm just using it as a metaphor, as a something here. But I mean, there's just no accountability when it comes from government of saying, well, what are you going to see for the value of your dollar? Are you going to invest in people properly? If you give people the money and they're going to put the money back into the economy, usually that's how it works, right? I mean, if you put proper transit out, people are going to use it. If you don't invest in the transit, people are not going to use it. You
Mhm.
cut the service, people are going to now say, well, I got to drive,
Yeah.
or I got to go with the neighbor. Now you're putting more vehicles on the road. Oh, well, we can't have gas guzzling vehicles on the road. We want EVs on. Well, now there's a big problem happening there. So yeah,
Yeah.
accountability again. I think government realizes that they messed up. And one thing I've learned in life, I was thinking about this morning before the podcast. When you mess up on something, just admit that you're wrong. Just say, look, you know what? I screwed up. I messed up. I must do better, or
Well,
I'll do my
you know
very best.
what? Again, John Horgan was
John
good at
Horgan
that,
taught
wasn't
me
he?
that.
John Horgan was really good at that, and that's actually one thing that David Eby is horrible on. He is horrible at that.
John Horgan and I stood there in a conference, and he talked to me directly about that. He says, Brent, I must tell you something. When a premier messes up, and he says, and I've messed up. He says to me, I'll admit I've messed up on a few things.
Yeah.
No, you haven't. Oh, yes, I have. He said, yes, I have.
Yeah.
You don't know that. He said, you don't
Yeah.
know that. But he says, but I told you from the beginning, I will do the very best I can. I
Yeah.
can't make everybody happy, and I'm not going to try to make everybody happy because I know I won't be able to. I go, right, about raising the rates. Right. He says, right. So you're probably not happy because I didn't raise the rates high enough. But he says, we are raising them.
Yeah.
And I know honestly, like I said about accountability, I know honestly he wanted to do that.
Yeah.
He did. He told me. And I mean, in so many different occasions. But he also said there needs to be accountability with government. Just don't be scared about holding the government to account, Brent. Do not hold it, because he says, I've read messages. I mean, it's all intertwined. Someone said, oh, well, Brent won't hold you, John. He says, I had a meeting one time, and he says, and someone says, well, Brent won't hold you accountable because he likes who you are. He won't hold you accountable. He's scared about standing up and saying, oh, John, you need to do the right thing and raise the rates. He says, but you know what? You did the right thing. You did say to me, raise the rates. You did tell me that there needs to be about accountability. So that's when we're talking about the word accountability now, is that when you mess up and you screw up, you just admit that you're wrong and just say, I must do better. I can tell you, like, if I had a guest on and I messed up on their spelling of their name or I pronounced it wrong, I say, oops, and I go red in the face going, oh my God, I can't pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. Or if I had a guest on and maybe they were supposed to show up. I mean, I could be like, oh, well, damn it. Why didn't they not show up? Would I say that on the air on there going, no, I'd say, whoops, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to say that. I mean, you apologize for your mistakes. My mom brought me up that way. And I told John about that too. And he says, you were brought up really good then. He said, you were brought up kind of like how I was. He said, your mom, my mom would say, give me a swift kick in the ass. Say, John, get going. And he said, and he told me a story about Carol James, who had convinced him to run as premier. And
well, I want to end the podcast about that one.
Yeah.
So stay tuned to the end because I have a comment I want to say about Carol James at the end. But let's see what I wanted to talk very quickly about a couple of numbers. We're going to crunch some numbers, some stats here, Brent. Is that again, David Eby says that BC is the economic engine of Canada, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Brent, is that BC lost 16,000 jobs just in July. Just in July alone, BC has lost 16,000 jobs. And guess what? It's the largest monthly drop since the pandemic. Yeah. And it says, and this is from an article. I'm getting this information just so people know. I'm getting this information from an article that was posted in the Vancouver Sun on August 8th. It's from Cheryl Chan, and she has this article, and she says that there's 16,000 jobs lost in BC in July. And the largest losses were in construction, natural resources, and service sector, finance, and education.
Wow.
And
huge.
And let's talk about the exodus of people leaving BC because they can't afford BC, Brent. So people are leaving BC because it's too expensive. I think in the last podcast I said it was 40,000. I misspoke. It's not $40,000. 40,000 people. It's way higher. It's 70,000 people have left BC. 70,000 people have left BC.
Oh, wow, that's even higher.
In the past year, citing affordability as the primary reason for their departure.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at the cost.
And this is posted by the Business Council of British Columbia. So it's not me saying it.
Yeah.
It's not me saying it. It's the Business Council of British Columbia saying it, that there were 70,000 people leaving BC because they can't afford to live here anymore.
Yeah, so they updated the number because I know when I had it was like 60 something thousand. So yeah, 70,000, and that kind of corresponds with my neighbor. He was just telling me that before. He said that there was huge amount of numbers going, and I said, Well, yeah, but the government, I was hearing on the news saying, yeah, BC is leading. They want to lead the country economically, and he goes, that's the spin. He says, remember, he says, when the other governments were in power, they would say the same thing, but in reality, people are leaving in droves. I go, yeah. He
Yeah.
goes, one of my neighbors just moved. I go, well, yep, yep. He says
Yeah.
one of my neighbors have moved. He says out back east, out to the Maritimes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. I said, how about Ontario? Nope, didn't want to move
No.
to Ontario because he didn't like Doug Ford.
Mhm.
Doug. Anyway, he didn't. The person said didn't want to go out there. They didn't want to go to Alberta. I said, oh, yeah. I said, why? Just well, he says because my neighbor said my daughter has a disability, and what the Alberta government's doing right now with their disability program is disgusting. Um, and maybe I'll squeeze that part in. Actually, I think I'll probably squeeze that a little bit in there. Um, so people that are following it, what's going on in Alberta, we mentioned this at the very beginning about the CDB.
Yeah.
So what Alberta is doing is that they're going to take basically they want people to apply for the
Apply
$200
for it and then
up to
claw it off. Yeah.
$200
Yeah.
CDB. That is, that's if they
Yeah.
can even get it. And what the Alberta is going to give you in return is nothing. So
Yeah.
you're actually going to be minused off because like they're
Yeah.
making it as not an option, a requirement.
A
You have to
requirement to
apply.
apply,
Yep,
requirement to apply,
yep.
and then they're
And
going to claw it off. Then they're going to claw it off.
once you're approved for it, they're going to
Yeah.
take the $200 off your 1901. So you're going to
Yeah.
get 1701. And here's the kicker, the latest news on it. And we're going to talk more on the next podcast about it. We'll pull up the data on it and we'll go through it. The Alberta government is actually wanting to change their whole, they're doing a review process. So if you find out on social media right now, I really encourage you to fill out your survey because they're actually asking people to submit what they want to see happen here. They want feedback. And I can
Mhm.
tell you the feedback that they're getting right now, it's not positive. What they want to do is they want to revamp their whole Alberta program for people with disabilities on AISH, and they want to
Mhm.
make it as a job requirement. So they want
Wow.
to force people with disabilities and be reassessed. They want them
Yeah.
to be reassessed and designated as a person
Just
with
like Gordon
disability.
Campbell. Just
And
like
yeah,
Gordon Campbell
in
in
Alberta.
2000. Yeah.
And here's the kicker: they want to go through their doctors, the
Oh,
UC,
their own doctors. Their own
their own
doctors.
doctors,
Oh, wow.
even though the person had already gone through their own doctor who knows them,
Yeah.
but to go through a stranger doctor who doesn't know
Wow.
them to assess them. And I can tell you, FYI, BC tried that, Alberta, BC tried
Yeah.
that, and it backfired. Why do I
Yeah.
know? Because I was the one of the ones.
Yeah. We've
Okay,
already lived through it. We already lived
I
through
would
it
live
in
through that.
year
I can.
2000.
You're lucky that
Yeah.
I'm not in Alberta, Alberta
Yeah.
government. You're lucky I'm not there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
must see
we
shit
we
hit the fan.
we do have to quickly go through this, Brent.
Yeah,
We do have Bill 7 and broken promises listed on this number 6 as well. So I wanted to quickly acknowledge, the reason why David Eby wanted Bill 7 is to have uh, more power and leverage against Donald Trump, because he wants to blame Donald Trump for everything. Like I said, right?
of course.
Uh,
That's why I
and
didn't want to raise the rate. So
yeah,
in
he didn't want to
downturn.
raise the rates, and he says, the like I said earlier, the grocery rebate, the $1,000 grocery rebate
Oh yes, I remember that one. I was
that
looking
never
forward to it.
was it was all because of Donald Trump.
I
You
was
know,
looking
if
forward to that, and
yeah,
I had plans on that. I wanted to buy a new accessibility one for a screen reader, and it was going to blow up the print for me. I had plans on that, but thanks, David. I guess I can't buy that now. And
yeah,
yeah, I mean, and I was going to buy some clothing too, David. But I guess I could go to the ministry and say, beg and plead and say, can I get a clothing crisis supplement? But you know what the government tells the recipients, David? They live within your means, budget better.
yeah.
Why do you need it? So you know what? I don't even bother. I don't even bother with it because I don't need the stress and anxiety. I get enough of that in life
Well,
dealing with my service provider that I'm dealing with right now. So yeah,
let's go to the last one, Brent.
yeah,
Number 7, the last one. We're saving the best for last.
yeah.
Number 7
The
is
best for last, everybody.
BC Ferries built in China.
Oh,
BC
oh,
Ferries built
okay.
in China.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
so
well,
so there's that.
And China just imposed 75.8% tariffs on Canada,
yeah.
but the government says, hey, here's $1 billion to China
Yeah.
exchange. So yeah, you can basically harm the canola industry.
Oh,
Now
I know.
people know about canola, right? Yeah,
What is it?
the
They
value went up.
it's a is it it's I have the it's
Where is canola
I
grown, everybody?
yeah, but I had the
Berries.
oh yeah, okay. It's China has imposed it's
Yeah,
75.8% tariff on canola oil.
way to go, way to go.
Uh, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
so as a reward for the
terrible.
tariff, David Eby has basically gifted the Chinese government has basically gifted the Chinese government $1 billion
Yeah.
to build these ferries with their own aluminum, not Canada aluminum or not
Mm.
Canada steel. It's with inferior China aluminum and inferior China steel. We're gonna
Well,
have these ferries built.
I think well
Remember
here.
how I started the show saying that David Eby is a flight risk in the
Mm,
eyes of Donald Trump and in the eyes of the CIA
mm.
is a flight risk or a security risk
Yeah, you're yeah.
for the United States government.
Mhm.
Well, now that David Eby has given given this ferry contract to to the China, David Eby has upgraded his security risk like internationally. So
Mm.
he's now a flight risk to the whole world now.
Oh, geez.
He's a security risk, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not even understating that, Brent.
yeah.
David Eby has turned himself into a security risk for the entire world because guess what? This billion dollars that David Eby has gifted the Chinese, uh, it's the Chinese naval. They're going to use that money to help finance their warships.
Okay.
And what do you use warships for, Brent? What do you use
Yeah,
warships for?
yeah,
To declare war on other countries, right?
yeah.
To destabilize world governments. So David Eby, by giving China $1 billion, is effectively destabilizing world government. So he's now an international security risk. So he can point the finger at Trump and say that Trump is overacting. But guess what? It's not Trump. It's the CIA that has now upgraded David Eby not to just a national security risk for the United States, but but an international risk for the entire world now that David Eby has done
Wow,
this.
that's crazy.
And again, I'm not
Yeah.
exaggerating. I'm not overstating it now, Brent. This is not hyperbole.
Hmm,
This
hmm.
is not hyperbole. David Eby is officially a security risk for the entire world now that he's done this.
Mm. It's mind-boggling is I remember, this is going back to different governments that were in power years ago. They were saying they wanted to get BC ferries built in BC. I remember even John Horgan
Yeah.
talking about that when they were in opposition. And he says, BC ferries should be built in BC. Fast forward, I mean, they're saying that the government said they couldn't find a bidder. They couldn't find a bidder. I mean, any of the shipyards across the country. Now, even the BC Ferries Union, I mean, the union for and the shipyards are saying, like, it can be built in BC. Oh, well, we needed to get built fast, though. People need the ferries fast. I mean, I remember hearing about that many years ago. Why wasn't this done? I used to take BC ferries all the time. I lived in Langley. I had to go all the way out to Cross Island, out to all the way up to Nanaimo, and then I had to bus it all the way there, all the way across Island. And I remember talking to BC Ferries. Okay, so the government, I talked to BC Ferries many decades ago. And I said, I remember having chit chats with them. Of course, why wouldn't I, right? And Brent just gets right in there and just chit chat. But I remember having discussions saying, well, why are the ferries not built out here? I mean, where are they built? Well, I mean, some are, but like some are, they source out products, like, parts here and there. But yes, great idea. And you know what? That was a great idea. but fast forward, it never got done. Now the excuse, oh well, we couldn't find bidders. Yeah, sorry, we need
Yeah.
now. I always say again, proactive. Actually, look at as the vessels age in time, you need to
Yeah.
replace them.
Yeah.
What could go wrong if you don't do that now, like back then? You have to foresee growth. It's like population growth. You need to be building. Okay, major surge of population coming in. Build, baby, build, right?
And
Build.
I understand a little bit if temporarily BC or Canada wasn't able
Yeah, temporarily.
to supply the ferries
Yeah,
or
because
to
they got
find
the
a
sailors.
contractor.
They
But I
got
mean, they
yeah.
literally could have picked anybody else.
I mean, the Poland
Um,
built the Salish, the Salish, was it the Salish Eagle or Salish Sea?
yeah.
The one of those the newer ships, and it was built in 2020. Was it 2022 or 2023? Something like that. I know that one of the anchors just dropped off
Oh, I
between
heard about that. Yeah.
Boston and Salt Spring Island. Yeah, one of the anchors dropped, and they don't know what happened, but people were
Yeah.
freaked. They don't know if they can find the anchor now. I mean, it literally dropped, and the whole boat just shuddered. Again,
Wow.
that wasn't built in China though. That was built, I believe, it was built in Poland. But
Hmm.
again, if it was built in BC, they could actually get that fixed really quickly, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes to show that.
John Horgan wanted to invest in BC shipbuilding here.
Yeah, he did. He told
Uh,
me.
but it was kind of shut down, so it never, or
Yeah,
at least it was slowed down, I should say. But
yeah.
he wanted it to happen, it never
Well,
quite did.
well, that's what
Uh,
I mean. I mean, that was one of his pet projects. He wanted to get that
mhm,
going, and
yeah,
unfortunately, fast forward through time, and we couldn't find the bidders, so we need to go
yeah.
source it out to China.
So how I wanted to end the podcast again, like I said, I wanted to kind of do a shout out to Carol James. She's one of the ones I wanted to do a shout out for because again, back when John Horgan and the NDP took over power from the BC Liberals in 2017,
Mhm.
what did John Horgan do? Like, what's the smart thing to do? You put your smartest people, in the most high profile jobs, right? And what's the most high profile job there is in provincial cabinet? It's the finance minister,
Finance minister.
right?
Yeah.
So, so Carol James was given the job of finance minister by John Horgan. So
Mhm.
you right there, that shows you that John Horgan trusted Carol James as the smartest person in
Mhm.
his provincial cabinet. Like by default, you know that
Yeah.
she was the smartest person in cabinet by
Mhm.
getting the job as finance minister, right?
Yeah.
So and then unfortunately, she had to step down in October 2020 because
Mhm.
she got a Parkinson's diagnosis. So she stepped down, and then the person to take over from her was Selena Robinson. Now again, Selena Robinson was trusted by John Horgan to become the next finance minister. And why did she become the finance minister? Because she was the smartest person in the room. Like she has, I mean, to get the job of finance minister, you have to be smart. Like you have to be super smart.
Mhm.
So again, John Horgan was trusting Carol James as the smartest person in his whole cabinet,
Mhm.
and she had to step down. So the next person he tapped on the shoulder was Selena Robinson. She's the next smartest person in my cabinet. I'm going to trust her to be my finance minister. So she took over, and unfortunately, then David Eby to score political points said, "Sorry, Selena, I have to kick you out of cabinet now."
Mhm.
So, and I'm not going to get into the
Yeah.
whole thing like,
Yeah.
uh, you know,
Yeah.
um, like anti-Semitism is a big important thing. And just recently, David Eby saying the right things now. That yeah, anti-Semitism is bad. But at the time that he dismissed Selena Robinson, he wasn't saying the right things. And I don't know. I don't think that was cool. But anyway, so she was let go. So so here you have two people right off the bat that were, so you have a kind of a brain drain. You have to have brain drain after David Eby took power. You have a brain drain of two key people. You have Carol James that left because of health reasons. You have Celine Robinson left because she was kicked out of cabinet.
Yeah, and then there was
Um,
Trina Conroy, and then she got in, and then she didn't decided not to seek re-election.
yeah,
So when,
and unfortunately, we'll have to have to include John Horgan as one of the smartest
yeah,
people in the room too.
yeah,
And of course, he's gone because he died.
yeah.
Another person I want to shout out as well. We talked before the show. Shane Simpson. Shane Simpson.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
he was the social development minister.
yeah.
I really respected him a lot because
Mhm.
he actually had the lived experience. He knew what it was like to live in poverty because that was his own personal experience growing up. Is
Yes,
he lived the life of poverty, right? So
yeah.
he understood. So he was actually one of the really smartest people in the room as well. But he left, and why did he leave, Brent? Let's touch on that quickly.
Yeah, so Shane, I got to know Shane from the beginning when he became Minister for Social Development and Poverty Reduction, as what they call the ministry in BC. Different governments over different eras of times, they changed the ministry name. But since the NDP had formed originally in 2017 with the Green Party, BC Green Party, as a supply and confidence agreement, they kept that name, the Ministry of Social Development Poverty Reduction. Poverty reduction law, we'll get there in a minute. But so anyway, as time went on, they kept that name. So Shane Simpson, I got to know Shane from different meetings that I had gone through advocacy groups and as a self advocate and through other advocacy organizations. And there was a meeting where we had basically speakers to get up there and ask questions. And I saw Shane, and yeah, I go, hello. He goes, hello. And, fast forward through time, he was talking about poverty and why poverty shouldn't exist in British Columbia and how to eradicate poverty, like different things. And in one of his
Mhm.
speeches, I thought, this guy's powerful. I thought, yeah, I mean, and I hadn't even thought about podcast back then. And Sonia had gone with me to this meeting, and she had a really bad, nasty cold at the time. And I dragged her out to this meeting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, achoo, coughing, sneezing. You can imagine.
Yeah.
And Shane's looking over on the stage. Somebody get some water and some. Anyway, she was fine. She got through it, and I got to meet Shane. Really genuine
I
guy.
got to meet him in person too. He's great.
Um,
He's
he,
great.
he
I gave him a lot of grief through emails. I gave him a lot of grief through emails, but when I met him in person, he redeemed himself a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we taught Shane after he got into advocacy because like and when he got into well, I mean as an advocate too. I mean but he became minister for that ministry um because when they were in opposition, I talked to the minister who I guess I thought maybe I was hoping that the minister Michelle Mungo, I thought she was going to
She
be
was
the
really good
minister.
too.
Yeah, she was really good.
And she stepped down because
Yeah.
of she wanted to become a mom.
Yeah, and
Uh,
she
yeah.
introduced me. She introduced me to and Sonia myself, like both of us to Shane Simpson. And she says, "So I've got some good news and bad news. I won't be the minister for that ministry." I go, "Oh no!" I mean, I got to know Michelle during when they were in opposition. We had gone to meetings and stuff, so I really got to know her well.
Mhm.
And I felt very comfortable with the minister. I mean, both of us did. I mean, she's very personable, and
Yeah.
she says, "So, guys, the bad news, I won't be running like for that ministry, right?
Yeah.
But here's the good news: is that this gentleman right here." And so she introduced us to Shane, and I
Yeah.
go, "Hello," and he goes, "Hello." He goes, "You look very familiar. Both of you look." Yes. He goes, "Sonia, right?" And she goes, "Yeah. How do you know my name?" "Brent." Yeah, well, why does he know that? Because Michelle had told him our names. I was like, this guy must know our name already. Well, what's going on here? And she's kind of giggling in the background, and 'cause, yeah. And I'm thinking, well, how does Shane know our names? I'm thinking, come on. And he goes, I know you though. I know you both. Where do
Mm.
I know you from? I said, oh, different advocacy stuff. I mean, different
Yeah.
forums and speeches that you've given. So
Mhm.
we kind of are like, we already knew him.
Mhm.
And we taught Jane a lot over time through lived experience, situations, stories that we shared, different community groups that Shane would show up as town hall meetings. So everywhere where Shane was, he'd show up, we were there. And so we made sure we were actually at these meetings to make him understand that poverty doesn't go away. Poverty exists now. We need solutions. We need our shelter rate increased. We need the support rate increased. One thing that Shane, I had said back then was we had a chance of saying two things each person was so. I always get this screwed up. So Sonia got to ask a question. I got to ask a question. And what was it, Sonia? Was it about rates or indexing it?
Both.
Both. Okay, so we got to pick which topic was. One was raising the rates, and the other one was indexing it to the rates to inflation.
Right.
Okay, so uh, now either one, we both got to ask the question, and he goes, I want to get rid of the word shelter. That's what he said. Yes, shelter needs to get raised. I won't
Yeah.
be raising it to $2,000 a month because people were saying, well, Shane, I mean, the like a one bedroom is going for like almost $1,000, and that was years ago. A two
Mhm.
bedrooms like 16, $1,700. I know. He says, I know the prices are going higher and they're
Yeah.
not going to come down anytime soon. And he goes, so I'm not going to raise the shelter to $2,000. Okay. But what I want to do is he says, I want to phase out. I want to get rid of that word shelter out of the equation. That's one thing he wanted to do was get rid of the word shelter. I mean,
Mhm.
because everybody, when we said at the beginning of the podcast, and I've said it many times on the podcast, is that you get your bulk check, right? You
Yeah.
get your check, and it's just a classification. That's all it is. It's like saying, here's your this is allocated for your food money. This is your utilities,
Yeah.
and this is your rent. This is for clothing. So you can divide your income into like four segments or a whole bunch of segments, whatever it is. At the end of the day, it's still one check, right?
Yeah.
And so he wanted to basically make it so that call it a new name. I don't know. Maybe we're joking around, but maybe call it. I don't know. Call it BC PWD or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
and because um, I guess one time it used to be BC benefits. BC ECA or whatever it is. I mean,
Mhm.
it's still one check.
Yeah.
Again, if you don't have a physical address, I mean, the cost of housing is so expensive now. Um, if someone's able to couch surf, I mean, or like stay at your residence for a period of time, and they say, you know what, like, the government won't raise our rates in 4 years, but
Yeah.
400 bucks or 500. Can I give you $500 and it's going to
Yeah.
cover? Yeah, there you go.
But you know what? We'll talk about that on
Yeah, the next one.
Mondays.
Yeah, the next one.
So we do have to get out of here, but
Okay.
but basically the thing that we can say about Shane Simpson is that he basically fell on a sword.
Yes, he
He
did.
he, he basically quit his job, left government, fell on a sword because he didn't want to do what the government wanted him to do.
Yes.
So I really respect him for that. And so again, when he left, there was more of a brain drain, right? So who is left now in David Eby's cabinet? You have uh, again, we said Carol James is gone.
Mhm.
You have Michelle Mungle. She was great. She's gone. Uh, John Horgan gone, unfortunately.
Yeah, Katrina
Um,
Conroy. Katrina
Tina
Conroy.
Conroy gone.
Yeah, she was the finance minister too. And now we got Brenda Bailey, who's the finance
Yeah,
minister.
Celine Robinson gone. So you have all these people that have gone now,
Yeah.
and basically, who do you have left
Mm.
as the star candidate? We talked about before
Oh,
the podcast.
Bowen Ma. Bowen Ma. Yeah.
Bowen Ma is great.
Yeah.
Bowen Ma, like she would actually be a really good leader. Now I don't know if she wants to be the leader. Like it's a lot of responsibility, but she would be really good. She's a star candidate for sure. The other star candidate I would say maybe is Adrian Dix. He's solid, but I mean basically everybody else is more or less yes men for
Yeah.
David Eby. Like wow, David Eby, aren't you doing a great job? Let's all cheerlead David Eby. Like, wow, great job. Yes, man. Yes. The thing I haven't touched on yet is the reason why, the big reason why Carol James was a solid pick for being the smartest person in the room,
Hmm.
and why Selena Robinson was a solid pick as finance minister to replace her as the smartest person in the room is because both of them, Carol James and Selena Robinson, weren't afraid to push back, right?
Mhm.
They were solid. They weren't yes men or yes women.
Mhm.
Uh, they had opinions,
Oh yeah.
and for a fact that that when John Horgan was in power,
Hmm.
for a fact that Carol, as much as Carol James respected John,
Yeah.
what she did. She wasn't afraid to push back on John.
Yeah.
And same thing with Selena Robinson. She wasn't afraid to push back. But guess what happened when David Eby took over power as premier? You have Selena Robinson in the most powerful position, most respected position in cabinet as the finance minister, and here she is not afraid to push back and say, you know what, David, you probably shouldn't be spending money here. Please don't spend money here, David. And he said, I don't like that, and he took his opportunity to wield political power and kick her out of cabinet, because he didn't like that she was the smartest person in the room. So that's, I mean, that's what happened. So now you have like a political, like a cabinet that's basically a shell of its former self.
Mm.
And is it any wonder? Is it any wonder that there's like the BC government is rudderless now? Because there's like, we just listed like five or six people that are gone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Unfortunately,
right.
because like I said, John Horgan's dead now. So, but five or six people have left that were among the smartest people in the room.
Yeah, there was, I
Uh,
mean, there was some other MLAs that were newly appointed, and I could see them really shining, going forward. Yeah, especially the Andrew Mercier, the Langley, for Langley. I know, I mean, having discussions with him, and I knew where he was going, and he wanted to progress going up.
mhm,
And I could see him as a shining star, definitely. And there was a lot of them, a lot of different MLAs that both of us got to meet over time and joked around with. And then some of them decided that it's just time for them to retire and take a
mhm.
step back and, enjoy life. And Rob Fleming, he's another one. He was the transportation minister. I don't know. I think he just saw the writing on the wall. I think he saw the writing on the wall. He said he's been there for 20 years. I mean,
Mhm.
within government, and helping out this and that. But as a minister, but I mean, he's still young, the young guy. But I mean, I wish him the greatest success too. I still, I should. It's a funny joke here. Sonia brings this up every so often. We were joking around about different ministers, and I still remember the day. And this was the last year we were walking through the legislature, the BC legislature, and we were talking about transportation because we were just, ticked off that the bus stay between Cowichan and Victoria, the bus strike that's
Mhm.
still 6 months late, right now, and it's still going. It's still everyone. It's still on strike. But anyway, Rob Fleming was there, and we were joking around. Saying, I'd like to try maybe get a hold of Rob. All of a sudden, guess what happens? Rob popped out of nowhere.
Wow.
Rob came out of nowhere. It was like, wow. And he goes, oh, hi, guys. And his hair is all standing on end. And he's like this. Hi, oh, hi, guys. It looks like he had just woken up. And I thought, wow. And he goes, it's good to see you. And he's talking really quietly. Good to see you. It's always great to see you guys. How are you
Yeah.
guys doing? I go, fine. We want to get this transit fixed. Right, right, right. I'm on it. He says, I'm on it. I'm already,
Mhm.
yeah, we're working on that. Well, fast forward, guess what? Now they're on strike. Cowichan contracts out to a French company, Transdev Canada, which is a subsidiary off of the a French company in France that
Yeah.
BC Transit actually had contracted out. Now, I guess to end the podcast, close to it here is if you're going to provide or say you're going to provide a service and you got a contract and you can't fulfill that service agreement, your
Mhm.
contract should be void, right?
Yeah.
So BC Transit They can't fulfill their agreement. I understand both sides. I understand by talking with the operators within BC Transit. I also understand when I lived over within TransLink, talking with operators there, I got to know a lot of drivers. So I know how a lot of it works. I mean, yeah, you have to bargain and you have to give and take a little bit, right? But it can't be all one side. It can't be all for the company and saying, well, this is how it's going to go. When you got your counterparts that are making more and you're doing the same job as your counterparts, it should be equalized across the board. I mean, give or take a little bit. Washrooms. I mean, washrooms, for God's sake. I mean, that's a human right. I mean,
Yeah.
people need to have
I'm
freaking.
sorry, you're not allowed to go pee.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and so many times that I heard over time, and I
Yeah.
see that
Me
as a
too.
boiling
Me too.
point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I knew that was going to be a boiling point because one of the
Yeah.
drivers told me, like, they got literally, they're running late because of heavy traffic. They
Yeah.
actually came in there and they got to turn around and go back. They
Yeah.
would quickly, some of them would maybe be a couple minutes late. You'd see them running across the road trying to
Yeah.
go into the washroom.
Yeah.
I mean, and coming back. So
Yeah.
again, there's a lot of sticking points, but I guess if the union you can't provide the service, then hand it over to somebody who can. Make it local. Make it
Yeah.
local, like Victoria and Nanaimo. RDN Transit. It's run locally within the regional district of Nanaimo. Victoria does the same thing. Transdev has contracts with a lot of other communities outside of Metro Vancouver within BC Transit area, including the Fraser Valley Transit, I found out, which was run by First Transit, but Transdev Canada got the bid on it. Why? I mean, that's not a good look. BC Transit be a government. It's not a good look. You got a company that's been allowing a strike for 6 months there. What does it say they're not going to do that out in Fraser Valley? Imagine that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I need the government to get involved and put an end to this strike because I can tell you, like, we needed to go to Nanaimo in July. We couldn't get there properly. It was hard. We had to go and find alternative arrangements to get there to go and see Sonia's grandma, who is 95 years old in the hospital. And by the way, she's still in hospital, but she's going through rehabilitation right now.
Mhm.
She's a feisty lady. She won't give up. Things were not looking so good there for a while, but she's still there. She's still there. I don't know if she's going to be going back to her home. Most likely not. Most
Yeah.
likely not.
Okay. It's a tough thing to get old, right?
It is. I mean,
it's a lot of change.
well, and Sonia's mom said the same thing. Like it's a hard one, right? Because it's like we want to see. I mean, Sonia wants to spend time with her grandma, like, and see her as much as possible, and not having this transit going. Like we used to just go in the afternoon from Victoria and go out to Duncan, transfer on a bus out to Nanaimo. Nanaimo still runs their service out to Duncan. I mean, if we were in Nanaimo, yeah, we could go to Duncan, but we still couldn't get to Victoria because of that transit dispute, right? But we were there.
You know what? It's a hard thing getting old, but what I was going to say too, it's a hard thing having a disability, but also aging with the disability and having a disability on top of a disability, like in my case now.
Triple.
And I know that you have, like anybody that ages with a disability, your disabilities get worse just automatically, right?
They never get better.
And we'll talk more about that on Monday's show.
Yeah.
I did want to quickly, like I said, my last comment was talking about the finance ministers. We had Carol James and Celine Robinson under John Horgan. Like I said, the smartest people in the room. I wanted to do a shout. I wouldn't normally do this because I'm not a Gordon Campbell fan.
Yeah.
But in year 2000, when Gordon Campbell took over, who did he appoint as finance minister? He again picked the smartest person in the room. Who was the smartest person in the room for Gordon Campbell? It was Carol Taylor. Carol Taylor was the star candidate in his whole cabinet. She actually could have wrestled Gordon Campbell under the table to become a leader herself. That is how powerful and influential Carol Taylor was. She could have easily had taken the leadership away from Gordon Campbell.
I met Carol Taylor actually.
Yeah.
In a room with all the opposition ministers and the current government at the time. Imagine that, everyone.
But this is what I mean about appointing the smartest people in the room.
Yeah.
So again, we'll go back to She was the finance. Carol Taylor was the finance minister for Gordon Campbell's government from year 2005 to year 2008.
Mhm.
And then again, so like I said, we had Carol James. She started as finance minister for John Horgan in 2017, and then she had to step down in October 2020. Smartest person in the room, smartest person in the room. And again, then John Horgan tapped Selena Robinson as another smartest person in the room to take over finance minister. But now she's gone. So that's mean you have this vacuous space now
Mhm.
of not very many people that are the smartest people in the room anymore. You just have a lot of yes men now, or yes woman, if you want to say yes men, or yes person, or whatever I'll say. People that are just saying yes, David Eby, and there's no pushback. Whereas like I said, Carol James pushed back on both John Horgan,
Yeah.
I was going to say and David Eby, but not really David Eby because he wasn't in power yet as premier. But then you had Selena Robinson also push back on John Horgan and push back on David Eby, and David Eby was having none of it, saying, "Well, I don't like that you're pushing back on me, Selena. See you later, bye." So again, David Eby has kind of made his bed. He's made his bed, and now he's sleeping in it, and that is why he's basically ruined British Columbia. David Eby has ruined British Columbia because he's made his bed. He's made his bed, and he's sleeping in it because he's basically let people walk away. Some of the smartest people in the room have gone, and he's left with nobody now, except
And
for yes men.
at the top of the show, we said, how has David Eby ruined British Columbia?
And hopefully we've answered that question.
And so we covered all these topics.
And we're just under 2 hours.
Yeah,
This is a long
yeah, this
podcast.
is a long podcast.
So we got to get it. We got to get
Yeah,
off.
I hope everyone enjoyed watching today's podcast. This has been an extra long podcast. As usual,
Watch every second of it. Watch every minute of it.
minute. Just grab your popcorn and just sit back and just watch.
Watch it in installments. Watch like 15
yeah.
minutes and then or half an hour and break it up into four or eight segments and watch
There
the
you
whole
go.
thing.
It's like the series,
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a podcast that never ends, Brent.
Please subscribe, like, and share the content. If you want to buy us a coffee, click the like button and the dollar sign there in the comment section. You'll follow it. You'll see it as usual. Check out the podcast version if that's what you enjoy listening to instead of watching it. There's lots of options. Definitely check it out. Thank you.
Like I said, we have an emergency podcast coming up on Monday. More of the same, but more specialized on how difficult it is to live on disability assistance
That'll be
in BC and all across Canada.
That'll be a very interesting one. So if that's what you want to focus on Monday, we'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. And don't worry, the sun's going to be coming back out in British Columbia this weekend. We just have to get rid of the rain first. But we need the rain.
You know what I wanted to do, Brent? I wanted to finish off with the song again.
Sure.
And you know the song Margaritaville? Jimmy Buffett, the song.
Yeah.
Some people claim that there's a woman to blame, but I know, it's my own damn fault, right? That song, it finishes off with that. It's like, it's my own damn fault. And so I wanted to change the lyrics to that.
Yeah.
And imagine that it's David Eby singing the song now. Okay, so you have David Eby doing karaoke. David Eby's doing karaoke, but he's changed the lyrics a little bit. So the lyrics are, some people claim that Donald Trump is to blame, but I know it's my own damn fault. Right?
Yeah.
That's what David Eby should say. Some people claim that Donald Trump is to blame, but I know it's my own damn fault, right?
Yeah.
And I'll just punch out with that.
And that's why it's like blaming it on Donald Trump. Well, economic downturn. That's why we didn't raise the rates this year. Well, no, 2021. Well, wait a minute. He wasn't even premier then.
I know, yeah.
Right?
Let's blame somebody that.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was the reason. Hey, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll dive into that part as a continuation.
And we're officially over 2 hours now, Brent. We're officially over 2
Thanks, everyone.
hours. Awesome. The
Yeah.
longest podcast
Oh,
ever.
yeah.
Yay. Whew. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.